So this guy stuck this cage. This radar, this Badger 900, just stuck that down in there, and that's what told him it was there? Or he, was there evidence or recording of this mask, do you know?
Yeah, no, there was they showed a picture of this, what the radar captured. And it's straight up like the same outline silhouette of a gigantic shark. And so, but they come to a place of like, well, this is a hoax. It was just a school of fish. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, just a gaggle of fish.
But it's so crazy. So like, I heard about it, and I work at a school, for the next week or so.
Mm-hmm.
But
do they know that?
Yeah, they know that.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But straight up, I went up to the science teachers and was like,
"Look at this fish."
I was like, "Hey, they're saying they found evidence of a megalodon," and every single person side-eyed me.
Dude,
they straight up were like, I would check your source on that.
Already did.
And I'm just like,
Joe Rogan.
I'm just like, well, what do you mean? Like, what my big issue with things like this is, of course, that's not something that I can corroborate.
Yeah, who are you going to go talk to?
Who am I? Who could I possibly know who's going to tell me if this was a legit thing or not?
Call Elon Musk.
Not only that, I can't go into the middle of the ocean and do it myself.
Right.
We live in a landlocked state.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm ever going to have that opportunity.
Never say never.
So, but at the same time, people are so I understand being a skeptic, okay? Especially with things on the internet. But this whole perspective of what is possible and what is not possible, the realm of possibility stands upon your own ability to follow up.
Yeah.
And guess what? None of us can.
Well, my question bears, and it is what it is, of course, but it's at what point does the internet get the upper hand? At what point is that the credible resource? Because you got to think, we've been saying that forever, right? And yes, the internet can be deceiving. So can people. Everything can be deceiving.
Yeah.
But it's if you've got, okay, just for the sake of argument, just very, very simple. You've got Joe Rogan, who brings on experts in their field, which have credentials and stuff like that to back it up. So if that's your, you need that, then there it is. And they're mentioning that. So to me, it would be I don't know anyone else that's a megalodon hunter. So this is probably one of 7 out there in the world.
Yeah. And this guy wasn't even a megalodon hunter.
No. Yeah. He's NASA.
And straight up, this guy is
and turn the telescope the wrong way. You know what I mean?
he basically
fish.
He basically comes on Rogan as an expert in his field.
Yeah.
And tells this story that gives you basically any reason to call him crazy.
Yeah, to millions of people.
Yeah.
It's not some podunk, Maverick and the Samurai type,
right.
thing. He's going on millions of listeners weekly. And can you imagine that type of pressure? What if I, and they're like, oh, no, you're a moron.
Right.
What do you have to gain from being dumb
you're
at that status?
Your entire career, basically at that point, is completely discredited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're taking an expert in the field.
I'd be I'd check my resources on that. Be no, I don't have to.
Right.
You do if you don't want to believe it.
One
knowledge
person,
is yours now. You touched it last.
But one person that says, I've seen this with my own eyes. I have no way of proving it to you.
Yeah.
But what do I have to gain?
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, if megalodons still exist, okay,
Ugh.
you would figure there would be more evidence.
Mm-hmm. I bet they're delicious.
You would figure that there would be tooth evidence that's still coming up.
Yep.
You would figure that there would be evidence of carcass.
Mm-hmm.
And you would figure that there would be...
Well, that's been something, too.
That's been something
there
that
was
they've been talking about?
A video of someone finding... I want to say it was a whale. And it had, like, a bite taken out of it.
Yeah, like a hole.
Like a hunk of meat.
Yeah.
Taken out of it. And they're like, who... What? I mean, you know what I mean? But yeah, anyone can say like, "Oh, I saw this on the internet," and be like, that doesn't seem right." But yeah, that's fine. But like checking resources and stuff like that, that's just, I feel like, just people's defense. I said to a doctor,
should be.
I said to a doctor, literally, like this was during COVID,
okay,
and my kiddo was sick, and I was like, "Do you think it's COVID?" And it was right when this all happened, right? And he had been in Kansas City and all this other stuff. And the doctor did that side eye to me. And he was like, the doctor, yeah, just like that. And he was just like, no, it's, just a virus going around. I was like, okay. He's like, that's not a thing. A week later, that entire doctor's office is wearing masks, very much, and I'm like, well.
So this was prior to COVID hitting the fan.
It had there'd been one case in Kansas City.
Yep.
Where someone had landed. It was right during that time. Exactly during that time. And not that I was like, oh my God, maybe he breathed, the same particle of water that this. I was just like, do you think it is? Because at the time it was just kind of floating out there. And I was just like, I just want him to get treated for whatever it is. If it's a cold, treat him for that. If it's a virus, treat him for that. Whatever. But yeah, so there was but I remember that. And then like a week later, I go back in there and I'm like, well. What do we have here, Sonny?
Right.
So anyway, so
that's interesting.
Not saying it is that way, but I get sometimes just some their just defense is just like,
yeah,
I would check that.
Yeah, and I don't blame people for that. I definitely think that a realm of skepticism in a certain extent is healthy to have. But at the same time, like we go back to this place of, if you let your brain play, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, then you're right.
It's just, yeah.
I mean, what do you do with the information? It's not going to change your life.
No, like the fact that there's a megalodon out there, like, okay.
Yeah, swallow a ship, then we'll talk. Okay? Like, I mean, there's nothing that I could do about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I want to do about it. It's a freaking 70-foot shark.
Dude, a giant squid though.
Yeah, no, and that's something that's provable at this point.
Those are so
that's terrifying.
That would be the worst thing.
Yeah. Kraken.
Ugh.
Dude.
Just down there in the ocean and that freaking thing coming in all alien and doing its thing.
Oh, sucking.
Oh, it's wet, sucking lips.
Oh, sucks me.
Oh, I did see Harlan Williams. Speaking of that, if you guys have never seen Rocket Man, amazing movie. Not the one with Elton John. The one about with Harlan Williams is so funny.
It is.
His first acting role I found out was actually Dumb and Dumber.
Really?
It was the first one, and he was like really. He's the cop in the scene when Jim Carrey pees in the bottles and he ends up drinking the pee.
Yeah.
And they did a couple takes, and they're like, "Man, just do what you want to do." He's like, "Okay," and so he did it, and that's the take, of course, that they kept in there.
Right.
But he went on Kill Tony. You know that? Have you heard of Kill Tony?
I don't think so. No.
It's a comedy. It's a stand-up, but it's super famous. They've had like Dana White on there, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan goes on there pretty often.
Okay.
But they'll bring like A-list comedians, Bill Burr, I think Tom Segura, people like that. Brett Kreischer. That's his name?
Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer. They'll bring him on there and stuff like that. And there's a couple like regulars that are up there, and they'll just kind of go back and forth. Well, they brought Harlan Williams on there, and the Tony is the name of the owner. Kill Tony is what the show's called, and so Tony is the main guy, and he was on Joe Rogan's. Man, this is just Joe Rogan podcast. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he's like the best roast in history. He was on my show, and it was Harlan Williams versus, and it was like one of the main like regulars that's on there. Dude, I'll have to show it to you later.
Yeah,
he just
tears this guy apart.
Annihilate and just effortless. Like I was like, still got it.
He is the underrated comedian.
Amazing.
The underrated comedian.
Amazing.
Because his ability to improvise is straight up there with Robin Williams.
Dude, it is phenomenal.
Straight up there.
And just pulls from, it's almost like, I would argue he has probably like a photographic memory or some, whatever you would call it, that can just pull from anything he's ever seen, learned, and can just connect the dots in a second. There's never a time where you see him thinking. Yeah. It's just there.
Yeah. Well, he has a crazy poker face.
Yes.
Have you seen him talking to Bobby Lee?
Yes. Yes. Oh, with the oh my God. What was it? Something angels fly away.
Cinnamon angels fly away.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And Bobby Lee even starts questioning, like, is this a bit? Yeah. You can see him, and he does this for a living.
I know.
And he's just like, yeah, there I am in the airport. See this little kid choking on Cinnabons, and I'm like, not on my watch. Yeah. And that's when I started, cinnamon angels fly away. Yeah. And he's like laughing hysterically. And he's like, Well,
no, because it was something like, because Bobby Lee is like the king of messing with people, and it's not like he's not like the king, like he just does it. Mm-hmm. And like
pokes the bear.
Oh yeah. A lot. So much. He'll talk about his life. Mm-hmm. And like he'll be like, I was, hurt by a relative, okay, quote unquote. Yeah. he'll like say that, and then he'll detail it further. So like each time it's more and more funny. Yes. But it's awful, so you can't laugh at it. Yeah, you're like,
oh man.
And if you laugh at it, he'll like gaslight you.
Yes. Yeah. Like, wow, dude, thanks.
Like, wow, you're laughing at my trauma.
I'm coming out just to let you know this, and here you are.
Do you realize how hard this is for me to talk about?
And then they have to explain. It's like, well, you said it because I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, because you want me. I'm telling you the story.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you? Yeah. And they'll be like, okay, I'm really sorry. Please, I will keep it together. Mm-hmm. And it was like, yeah, you should, because this is awful. Yeah. And it was like, I'm so sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. Please continue your story.
Just takes it there
again. And then he'll go there, but a step further. Yep. And like, so there he is nailing, Yes. And I'm, yeah. And yeah, so Harlan Williams basically did that to him, but Harlan Williams is so much better at it than he is. So
the king.
Yeah,
of it. Yeah.
It's
and I think of I even think with you, like I couldn't hold it together to give a speech like that. I couldn't do it. Yeah. Even with you. Yeah. I can't imagine doing that in that type of setting.
Well, because there's an element of shame.
Yes.
You have to, if you're saying something awful and it's not, you're making it up.
You have to acknowledge it.
You have to be like, okay, I'm
just kidding, guys.
I'm going over the line here. I'm sorry. There's none of that.
Nope.
There can't be that.
Nope.
Because
and you're starting it from nothing. Yeah. In the psychological aspect, starting it from nothing, oh man, he's sharing this story. Yeah. And so even now, you can't laugh, you can't smile, you have to keep telling it, and you have to let people's terrible sense of humor take it there, and then they have to be the ones why am I laughing at this? Why are you laughing at this?
Yeah, right. So Harlan Williams just nails Bobby Lee to the ground.
So great.
It's amazing.
He's hilarious.
But anyway,
that's a good segue.
yeah, let's get into the